When was the last time you saw Merry Christmas? You don't see it anymore. They want to be politically correct. If I'm president, you're going to see Merry Christmas in department stores, believe me. Believe me.
All right, that was candidate Donald Trump in January 2016, promising to win the war on Christmas and do it, as he likes to say, bigly or bigly. It depends on who you're asking. Like these cards that he sent to lawmakers this week.
He sent not only this one this year, but also this huge one, which is really probably the gaudiest Christmas card I've ever seen. You know, this isn't really befitting the first family, but more like the King of England or something. But anyway, this is it. White House Christmas card. Kind of crazy.
Okay, on the other side, a pro-Trump super PAC releasing this ad in time for the holidays.
Thank you, President Trump, for letting us say Merry Christmas again.
Oh, okay. So is President Trump winning the so-called war on Christmas? To answer that, we've brought back our panel fully revved up and ready to go. Vince Colonnese, editorial director for the Daily Caller, and Isaac Wright, the former executive director of a pro-Hillary Clinton super PAC. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Nice to be back. Merry Christmas.
Okay, so thank you. Look at that. All right, I'm going to take you right to the polls here. All right, this one is from the Pew organization, about how people feel like businesses should greet them, because this has been a big thing over the last few years. 52% say it doesn't matter to them. They don't care. 32% do prefer Merry Christmas. 15% say Happy Holidays. Those are businesses. There have been boycotts on businesses, as you two may know, over the last few years over what they choose to say. Vince, does it matter to you?
It matters. I think it matters insofar as we as Americans sort of recognize sort of like the soft undercurrent to our conversations, what's actually happening as people do that. And you hear Happy Holidays, and I think a lot of people think to themselves, like, well, what you're trying to do is not offend anybody by saying that. And the key really should be like, well, stop taking Christ out of Christmas. I mean, really, the whole holiday season really revolves around December 25th, Christ's birthday, and people like to be reminded of that. And when they hear Donald Trump say Merry Christmas, it really is not about necessarily just a war on Christmas. It's about the war on Christianity. They'd like to make sure that Christianity continues to be a dominant force in America because, it has been since our founding.
Well, and I do think a lot of us are worried. We don't want to offend anyone, but this is interesting, too. This is from Monmouth University poll. This is from this year about what holidays Americans are celebrating right now. 89% of Americans say they are going to celebrate Christmas. 5% say they are actively celebrating Hanukkah. 3% say Kwanzaa. So if you've got 89% of the country saying, hey, we're going to celebrate Christmas, Isaac, why do you think people are so worried about offending someone?
So this is something Vince and I can actually agree on. I think there is a war right now on Christian values. I actually don't think it's about our holiday greeting and our Christmas greeting. I think that's kind of a distraction. And I think the right wing has sort of created this ruse of a quote-unquote war on Christmas about department store greetings as a way to distract from what Jesus taught and how we actually act on that or not in this country. In the 25th chapter of Matthew, Jesus, whose birthday we're talking about, said the sheep and the goats will be separated. We as believers will be separated based on how we followed his teachings about how we treat the poor, how we treat the sick, and how we treat the foreigner amongst us. Those were the things that Jesus cited as to what believers would be judged on. And if you look at the policies that have been pushed in the last year in this country, they're the most anti-Jesus teaching policies that we've seen.
So we're going from a debate over Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas right back into politics.
That's not politics for me. That's what Jesus
that
said.
Part is politics.
I'm pretty sure Jesus.
That's what faith.
But you took it to policy.
Jesus wasn't saying that we need to drive
some of us about why we believe these things. Some of us believe our country should reflect the values of what Jesus taught about how we treat the sick, how we treat the poor, how we treat the poor.
Both subscribe to that. There are people on both sides of the aisle. There's the prayer breakfast and all the events that go. I've already gotten the invitation from this year. Democrats and Republicans alike say we're going to come together and pray. And you know they do that on the Hill. They have Bible studies together and everything else.
That's the exact scripture I'm citing, though. They're cultural Christian and they're believers.
The concern here.
And that whole passage is about separating the sheep.
The concern, Isaac, about Merry Christmas.
Just to get us back on track, if that is possible. Okay, one more poll.
Okay, go.
The greeting that you choose to use, because this is, and I got to say, when I'm there, I feel bad for the employees because I do think some of them are told that this is our company greeting. You're going to say Happy Holidays to not offend anybody. I always say back to them Merry Christmas, and some of them look relieved. I mean, like, oh, she said Merry Christmas.
Fight it, Shannon.
So Americans, what greeting do you use? This is not businesses, but just person to person. 67% of Americans say, I say Merry Christmas. 25% say, I feel safer saying Happy Holidays.
Safer. What is going on in America that you have to be
but they're
safer?
trying to not offend anyone. But when I look at this number that says 89% of Americans are celebrating Christmas, saying they're actively celebrating it, I don't know why we should be worried about saying that.
Look, I don't think we should be worried about it. Also, I think that, part of this is remembering what it's all about. I mean, if you say the words Merry Christmas, you have to acknowledge the lion's share of the word Christ is is buried in there, and that's what, of course, this is all about. And again, this goes back to people being concerned about this idea, this notion of a war on Christmas. Really, this is a proxy for the greater war about Christianity and its place in our culture. When you have nuns being compelled to take on birth control, when you have a situation where coaches can't say prayers with their players at football games in high schools, then you know that we as a country have gone too far. And I think a lot of people recognize that and say, you know what? I'd like to have a president who's going to be pretty proud about the notion that they can easily say Merry Christmas without being worried about
I'm scared. I'm going to give you the final word here.
This is not a proxy. This is a distraction from the war on Christian values. The first chapter of Matthew talks about Jesus' birth. The second chapter talks about Jesus and Mary and Joseph fleeing Herod as refugees, crossing the border illegally as undocumented immigrants into Egypt. Under the DACA policy, were that our country, we would have sent Jesus home to Herod and not allowed him in this country. That is a war on Christian values, not the holiday greeting.
Jesus wants us to live out our values, not have the government do it for us.
Believers ought to let politicians distract them with holiday greetings when they should be worried about, are we living up to what the New Testament teaches and what Jesus teaches?
They're going to arm wrestle. Marshall.
Yes, prayerfully.
Prayerfully arm wrestle. And we'll let you know how it comes out. Thank you guys for sticking around.
Merry
See you both.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.